Good day. Welcome to Trust in HaShem. I'm Menachem Avichayiel for Fake News. Today is April 16th, 2026 by the Gregorian calendar, and the 28th of Aviv by the Torah calendar of 5786. It's also the 14th day of the Omer. Today we're going to start out with a news from America, from the great state of Maryland. You know, I remember when I was a kid in high school, right, that we were taught about the Civil War and what led up to it. And I remember that Maryland was a slave state. Now, when the war started, they did come in on the Union side. But slavery was legal until then. Now, Maryland has a bill up that lets pharmacists, this is a good one, that lets pharmacists order vaccines for a person by logging in your name in the state tracking system without any patient's request or requirement. And they can put them in for, they need this vaccine. I went to Webster's Dictionary, I looked up a word, and the word had a definition, a dictionary definition, Webster's Dictionary, and this is what it said. It said, a human being who is owned as property by another and is absolutely subject to their will, divested of all freedom and personal rights. That is the definition of a slave. When you don't have the right to say what's going in your body or what doesn't go in your body, you're a slave to whoever's forcing you to do that. Now, I'm not talking about, am I for vaccines or am I against vaccine? It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with, do I have the right to say what's going in my body? Period. I don't care what it is. Maryland, looks like they want to bring slavery back. Moving over to Europe. There was a book written called The Story of Civilization by Will Durant. And in there, and I quote, he says, a great civilization is not conquered from without until it has destroyed itself from within. Interesting, isn't it? I remember the Lincoln-Douglas debates, and Lincoln said something to that effect. He said, and I'm putting in my own words, but this is basically what he said, that a European country could not conquer America. All the European countries combined could not conquer America. If America is to ever be conquered, it will be because they destroyed themselves from within. Same idea. Now in Europe, of course, as everybody knows, was a Christian country, countries, I should say. Now Christmas is no longer Christmas in Europe. They're calling it Winter Journey. Destination Beautiful Winter. Merry Christmas is being replaced by Happy Winter. Now, being Jewish, it doesn't matter to me what they call it. But a civilization that loses its heritage is a civilization that's dying. Remember when Donald Trump became president, and he started saying, I'm saying Merry Christmas. He did it on purpose because he knows what's going on. I would say that the Christian world needs to wake up. One of the problems with the Christian world, I don't mean to harper on anything, but it's also actually a problem with the Islamic world too. But I'm going to start with the Christian world, that in 365, the Council of Laodicea right, convened because the Roman Emperor Constantine, he wanted to unify all the pagan worshipers and the Christian worshipers into one imperial religion. So in order to do that, he convinced the church to put out a decree. And it said basically, in English, I'm going to read it for you, Christians must not Judainize by resting on the Sabbath, but must work on that day rather than honoring the Lord's day. But if any shall be found to be Judainizers, they shall be kicked out of the church. Any Christian who rested on Saturday, the day God himself sanctioned at creation, was to be cut off from the church. Now, in case you didn't know, the Muslims they celebrated on Friday the Sabbath, and they claim that the Sabbath was given to the Hebrews, to the Jews, to Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel. It was not given to us, so they declared Friday to be the Sabbath. There's only one problem with both of the ideas. The Sabbath didn't begin at Mount Sinai. It began at the Garden of Eden. It was given to Adam and Eve. In other words, it was given to the entire world. The only difference between what happens with Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel, and the rest of the world is that at Mount Sinai, HaShem made it a law for us that under penalty of death, if we don't keep the Sabbath. Pretty strict. But during my lifetime, I've met a lot of Noahide Christians. Noahide Christians are Christians that they believe that JC is the Messiah, but they also understand that they are subject to the 7 Noahide laws. 6 of them given to Adam, and the 7th given to Noah. And so they're called the 7 Noahide laws. One of them is to keep the Sabbath. And they do keep the Sabbath. Noahide Christians. I would suggest that the Christians and Muslims rethink what they're thinking. This could be one of the reasons why there's such turmoil between them. HaShem is allowing this to go on because they're not keeping the Sabbath. Moving on to Pakistan. The Pakistan Federal Constitutional Court has made a ruling that a 12-year-old Christian girl by name of Maria Sashbaz, right, she had appeared before a magistrate and made a statement under the section 164 of the Criminal Procedure Code in Pakistan, and she claimed she was 18 and she converted willingly and married of her own free will. 12-year-old. Her father tried to get her out of all this, and the court said, no, we're going to go by her statement. She said it was willing, so therefore she stays married to this guy. 12 years old? I'm like, what's going on in Pakistan? Let's move to Israel now. City Shechem, the Muslim occupiers call it Nablus. They're having role models that they're promoting. They have like the head of the terror organization Black September, who planned and executed the 72 Munich Olympics that massacred the Israeli athletes there and also murdered 2 American diplomats in Sudan. He's being honored. The founder of the terrorist organization Hamas being honored. A female Fatah terrorist bus hijacker, murder of 37 Israelis, 12 of them children, being honored. Why exactly is Israel allowing these people to remain in Israel at all and use any of the services within Israel? Are these all self-hating Jews? Is that what they are? Doesn't sound to me like they have much pride in themselves. Yeah. Well, there's no doubt about it. Israel is winning the war. Well, so a lot of the generals saying, Bibi gets on the air all the time. Oh, yeah, we're winning, we're winning. Yeah. In the middle of all this, the Supreme Court makes a ruling. On the Sabbath, they do this. They issue a interim order allowing up to 600 people to attend an anti-government, anti-war protest in Tel Aviv, and smaller caps in other cities, despite the wartime gathering restrictions to the whole country that's been issued by the Home Front Command. This seems a little strange to me. I've been here for like about 2.5 years, coming from America, republic, a democracy. This doesn't really sound like a democracy. Generally in a democracy, you just go to your city hall and you get the form for having a protest of some kind. You fill out the form. They give you a permit for it. Well, 600 people, you're going to need a permit. Anything over 100 people, generally, you're going to need a permit for. Mainly because they want to have police there to make sure that you do nothing and nothing happens to you too. So anyway, you go to the city and they issue a permit for it. Why is this in the Supreme Court? This doesn't sound like democracy. This sounds more like dictatorship to me, to socialists or communist dictatorship. What's going on in this country? Well, I'm an Israeli now too. I want to know what's going on here. Personally, I don't like it. Needs to change. Well, let's go to the war front here. We have a gentleman by the name of Abraham Zarbiv. He's an ultra-Orthodox Jew. The one that everybody's yelling about that they're not serving in the army. This guy's an ultra-Orthodox Jew. But he's not just an ultra-Orthodox Jew. He is a rabbi. In fact, he is a judge in a rabbinic court. That's a very specialized, highly educated Torah Jew. When October 7th took place, he went down and suited up, right? He has now developed a new war strategy to defeat Hamas that he's been using. His method is to use a D9 tractor. It's one of these giant tractors that they have. And it's an armored bulldozer, so he's protected from bullets and stuff. And instead of having foot soldiers, go from house to house, he goes in and just levels the house. I remember when this took place, I was still in America. I was supposed to come over that very week. And they canceled my flight. They canceled the second flight. I finally made the third flight they let me on, and I made all over to Israel. But my point is, though, that a friend of mine, he happens to be a very, very high-ranking Israeli, he calls me up, and we were talking. He asked me, what do I think should have been done? And I said, well, what they should do is take the planes and start bombing at the northern border of Gaza and just keep going till everything is killed, till they get to the Egyptian border. Every man, woman, child, goat, dog, roach, everything that's alive, just level the place. After October 7th, 2023, forget it. When you come across a rabid dog, and that's what they were like. That's how they acted. You don't say, oh, nice little doggy, calm down. You kill it. So he said to me, I think they would just start the northern border with bulldozers, these giant bulldozers that Israel has. I didn't know about them at the time. And just start going south and just level the whole place. Well, it seems like that this Avraham Zarbiv listened to this high-ranking Israeli person. Interesting. Personally, I think every single IDF chief of staff should be busted down to corporal if that's the lowest rank they have here, and then given a dishonorable discharge for what went on. One of the things I heard that went on was they left women at the border. They were IDF soldiers, but they're still women. And they took away their guns? Are you out of your mind? And they haven't kicked this guy out that took away the guns? Please. What kind of country is this I'm in? Hey, I'm telling you, it's a hard life, but somebody's got to live it. So here we have, I want to make a point here. Before we cut off, I want to make a point here. The news from around the world has been just bombarding Israel about how evil Israel is, how bad they are. Look at all the people they're killing. But there's absolutely no mention of the thousands of rockets that are being fired at Israel. Israel needs to kick ABC, NBC, CBS, the BBC, all these foreign reporters, kick them out of the country and don't let them back in. Ban them for at least 1 year. And then if they come back in, the first time they open up their mouth and they say something against us, kick them out again, and that time for good. They're not allowed back in. Enough of this nonsense already. These people are nothing but Jew haters. Well, actually, I should take that back. We're just in the way. They're actually haters of God. Make no mistake about it. They hate HaShem. That's who they want dead. What can I say? I'm Menachem Avichael for Trust in HaShem. This has been Fake News. Thank you. Have a good day.